welcome to my channel. My name is Tess and here we talk pretty much only about cross stitch with a little bit of life thrown in. Third time's the charm. Hopefully this will be a successful recording. Haven't been able to the last 2 weekends like I wanted to, but such is life. I'm here now. I do have quite a few whips to get through, so hopefully I won't take too long, but I also don't want to rush through it. So you would have already seen the timestamp, so grab a drink and snack as necessary. In a move that surprises absolutely no one, I have greatly reduced the number of challenge groups I am participating in. There was no way I was going to successfully work in 10 challenge groups, I think 11. I'm down to 3 that I'm actively participating in, with another 2 that I'm still trying to make work, but they don't have prompts. I've just got to remember to upload my stitching. So I will be actively in daily 30. That is sort of the main driving force of this year, where most of my stitching is going to go. I have whip go, which are all my priority 2 whips. Like, I'm trying to work on all my whips anyway. So whip go is choosing which 2 priority 2 whips I'm working on each month, and one strand a night is either whip go or some of the smaller pieces that I hope to finish in the year. So they are my 3 main challenge groups. I've got a couple in semi-sane that I'll probably dabble in if I've got time, some others. So I'm not leaving all the groups, but they're my focus. Not that that matters. So that will sort of determine the order in which I show my whips. So it's not necessarily in the order that I've worked on them like I used to do. It will be daily 30, 1 strand a night, and then everything else as I get to it. That being said, let's jump in, because not only do I have a lot of whips, I've got some really exciting, at least to me, haul, and I'm so looking forward to being able to share it. So let's go. In the month of January, I stitched 13,717 stitches. I think that's about my average, maybe a little higher, but I get around the 10,000 stitches a month, I think. I probably could have looked. I've got all the stats, but it's not that important. And since the last video, I have stitched 10,152 stitches. So going forward, because I am hoping to do a fortnightly thing, after the month has ended, I will say the month total, but I will also say since the last video, just because some people like numbers. But first up, as always, is Haystack Sunset by Jeff Pritchard, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I have broken this into a quadriptych piece, have finished the first 2 and am now working on part 3. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And here it is now. Since my last video, I have put in 3,069 stitches. This is probably my most difficult whip to share because I am doing extreme cross country. So I have to show you, I guess, the full image. Absolutely loving it. I'm excited. Next year I will be focusing on this one and we'll be getting a full finish, hopefully, with the next 2 parts. But until that time, this year it is getting 30 minutes minimum a day. And here is a comparison photo. And just quickly to, I guess, explain my reasoning / usage, not only is it getting 30 minutes a day in the daily 30 group, the monthly challenge, you go after, I think, 8 animals, searching for 8 animals. So Haystack is being used for 4 of those. So it will get minimum 1,200 stitches a month, which it kind of does anyway, but I'm working on it, so why not, I guess, double dip. Anyway, Next up is Birth of a Star by Rachel Anderson, again by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is what it will look like when it's finished and where it was last time. And this is where it is now. It got 1,220 stitches since you last saw it. And this one is again being used for the animal adventure and is getting a minimum of 900 stitches a month, which I've still kept up. It's got another 600 in February, but it's pretty blocky stitching at the moment, so I'm pretty confident that that will happen. And here's a comparison photo. And the last of the animal adventure for daily 30, you have to declare 3 whips, is Sakura Fuji by Anchor. I am doing this triptych with 2 friends, Manda from Pennington Terrace and Jay from Jay's X Stitch. We've each got a different section of the group. Here is a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And this is where it is now. I put in 300 stitches. Technically, there's half stitches, so obviously they only counted for one. I had to restart this. I had only stitched 80 stitches, so it wasn't a huge amount. But because it was started in 2018, I'd upgraded my device, no longer had the marked up version. I didn't know which way was up, and it was just easier to restart than it was to figure out where in the chart it actually stitched. So I restarted this on the 24th of the 1st. I think I said it had 300 stitches. So this is only getting one animal a month for 300 stitches because it's not in Pattern Keeper and it's got a lot of tent stitching. So I want to see it worked on, but I'm never drawn to stitch it. So I think a little bit of progress each month will help. And here's a comparison photo, even though that's kind of cheating. And last up for my regular daily 30 updates is Fairy Bubbles by Josephine Wall, Heaven and Earth Designs. This is a supersize max color. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And this is where it is now. So it got 1,704 stitches. And I don't know if you can tell, I am so excited. I have finally finished filling in all of the little stitches. It is amazing. It looks so good. The camera is not picking up this beauty. I'm so excited to get to this point. Hopefully going forward, being able to park and not have so much like confetti-ish. I'm hoping it will go quicker, as well as something else I've got to show you later. Love it. And I found out not last night, the night before, that this is actually the top of her wing. So I thought I was just doing background, but I'm already technically stitching on the fairy. And I love this and I can't wait to see it grow more. And this is the 30 minutes a day of daily 30. It was already my goal this year, so I'm sort of it fit. But I'm super excited to see where it's up to and I can't wait to stitch it going forward. And here's a comparison. And next we move into one strand a night whips. This one was just, I wanted to get it finished, not a whip go. Pro Body's Nerfect. I self-charted it using Pick to Pat. And here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And here it is done. Obviously, I probably didn't need to show you what it looked like when it's done because it's here, but anyway, I stitched 770 stitches to finish this off. As you can see, I've kind of changed the spacing or the alignment from my chart, and I don't know if it's because I changed the alignment that it's not centered, but I kind of like it. It goes with the message of the quote, and I'm actually hoping to frame it with this extra space shown. I haven't washed or ironed it yet, as you can see, but I will get to that when I get a frame ready. And here's a comparison photo. Next is a whipgo piece, which I used on One Strand a Night, and in my whipgo this year I'm aiming for 200 stitches on the piece because they're priority 2 whips. So this is Crossword by Long Dog Samplers. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And this was a whip from the 30th of the 5th, 18 to 17th of the 1st, 22. I am only stitching the actual crossword part of this. I will be doing a different background when I get to it. I've got a couple of options that I haven't settled on, but again, it's going to be a while before I need to know anyway. And here it is now. I put in 264 stitches just because I wanted to finish the strand of floss. Absolutely loving it. The colour's not showing true. It's a little bit darker than this. I'm stitching this on 1/1 on 32 count Lugana Mustard by Jay's X Stitch using Silks for You PR 146, and I love it, and we'll get back to it eventually. And here's a comparison photo. Next up, I had another whip that I wanted to see to completion with the One Strand a Night, Penelope's Posies Pincushion by Lindy Stitches. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And here it is. Again, I didn't really need to show you what it will look like when it's done because I have another finish, which is insane to think about, but very happy to get this one done. I can never remember which way is up, but when I eventually, in maybe 5 years, finish this, it won't matter because it will be a pincushion. I did get the kit, so we'll be able to finish it fully, and it took 849 stitches, and here's a comparison photo. And that one was a whip from 27th of the 5th, 20 to 3rd of the 2nd, 22. Next is another whipgo piece, My Shadow by Heartstring Samplery. This was actually a new start this year. I started it on the 23rd of the 1st, 22. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done. Obviously there was no before. And this is what it looks like now. So this was 228 stitches. I'm stitching it 2/2 on 32 count After the Rain by Colour Cascades, and I'm using DMC 3041. Originally I thought that the words were sort of negative space, but looking at the chart, I think it's actually stitched as well. And if it wasn't for like the thread coming to her hands being stitched, I would probably leave it as negative space, but I might do something like 317. I think that's a grey. But I will do all of the dress and the woman first before I make the decision. So it's a fair way away. And here's a photo because it might show up better than this. Next, I have my Want to Finish This Soon WIP Healing Maze by Silver Stitch Designs. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. If you've seen it, I don't actually know if I've showed this before. There may not be a picture. I am slightly changing this in the fact that I'm stitching it twice, and the second one won't be a complete copy. I'll probably just do the border and a couple of the inside motifs because I am making this into a Biscornu. And this is what it looks like now. It's really not showing up and doing it justice. It is opalescent and gorgeous. So this is on 5-star, which was a Fabric of the Month by Fortnight Fabrics, I believe March of 2020. I don't think I was still in their club for 2021. And I'm using a Silks for You Silk of the Month from January 2020. So unfortunately, I don't think you can get either of these supplies. But I am loving this, and I'm not sure how many days of stitching it's going to take me to finish, but I am hoping maybe end of March, April. We'll have to see. But I am getting a strand a day as the challenge suggests. And here is a photo in the hopes that it's slightly better. I don't think I said I stitched 154 stitches on that one. The next two are the WIP Go pieces called for February. First one is Needleworker by Little House Needleworks. Here's a photo of what it would look like when it's done and where it was last time. And this is where it's up to now. I stitched 237 stitches. I'm stitching this on 18 count Underground King by Colour Cascades and using the called for colours because it was a kit, I believe. But here's a comparison photo. And the last of the One Strand a Night WIPs is Peppermint Purple Cell from 2020. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. Now it's not going to look exactly like that because, surprise, surprise, I'm changing it. I'm flipping it upside down, stitching it twice so it's a complete square, and also stitching it again in the inverted colours, but that's going to be a long, long way away. And here is where it's at now. I stitched 257 stitches. Obviously it's back stitch, so double that for, you know how it works. So it's kind of bothering me that I've only done like not even half of this square, but I wanted to make sure, I think I've mentioned this before, that I liked it on the 28 count. I really like back stitch or black work on 14 count, but because I want to make this into a Biscornu cushion, I preferred the size of the 28. So while it's not my favorite, I think it'll still look really nice and dainty. So I just kept working on the borders, boxes thing. And even though it might be a while before I get back to this, I am aiming to have all 4 versions of this fully blocked before I do the fillers, because I'm also doing the 2021 sale in the exact same format, just using their fillers. So I've got 2 cushions and we'll sort of, yeah. Anyway, it's a long way away. All of my dreams take a long time to come to fruition, but that's where we're at, and here's a comparison photo. And finally, I have my random whips. These are ones that I start either just because or work on just because, or they're other challenge groups that I feel like jumping into. So first up, we have Magic Book. It is the solo collection by Heaven and Earth Designs. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done. This is a new start. I started it for Hannah Dowling's birthday on the 21st of the 1st. 10 stitches. And there's a hashtag birthday book sale if you want to follow along or join. Hannah has put in a lot more work than me. I've only done 10 stitches, partially because I was tired that day. Let's be honest, I'm tired every day, but I just wanted to start it with her, and I did it at the point where it was her birthday here and where she was, time zones, but it's also on my whip go board, so I will put in 200 stitches when it's called. Here's a photo, though I don't think you're going to see anything. And the last 2 whips I used for the Semi-Sane challenge, Choose My Whips. That challenge required you to stitch a minimum of 500 stitches. These whips are my priority one, which is 500 stitches, so it worked nicely. First up is Apple Blossom Mini by Marianne Broom, Heaven and Earth Designs, if it's a theme. Here's a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And this is where it is now, and it got 502 stitches. If I manage to get through all my whips this year, this is going to be one of the first ones I come back to. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but this block of 2 squares is not complete. Normally I would have just finished it for completion's sake, but I was on a time limit with Choose My Whips because obviously it's a challenge, and I didn't go back to it the week after, so I don't see it often enough that it's going to bother me. But again, it will be one of the first whips I come back to if I just feel like it, or if I've finished working on all my others. And here is a comparison photo. And the last whip I have to share with you today is Coffee by Aruda Art, charted by Gecko Rouge. Here is a photo of what it will look like when it's done and where it was last time. And this is what it's looking like now. English is hard, my words are escaping me. It got 588 stitches. I'm actually surprised. When I saw the chart, I thought it would be pretty blocky, but there's actually quite a bit of confetti in the background. So it didn't go as quickly as I wanted, and I did not meet the deadline for this challenge, but I still got to the 500 stitches, obviously, because it's a priority one whip. So it is now going away for the rest of the year, unless I get through everything and feel like working on it. And here's a comparison photo. If you've seen that whip before, you might remember me saying that I wanted to work or attempt to work in diagonals. I came to the realization there's been a lot of revelations this year so far. Stitching's supposed to be enjoyable. While I love all these little challenges, I do need to make them realistic, and I think I'm also discovering that I don't like challenges that change the way I stitch. So I'm pretty set now with it's Hannah's method, even though she's not doing it anymore. The staggered parking feathering method. So I'm pretty happy with that, and we'll be converting pretty much all of my whips to that. Haystack will be still extreme cross country. If it's not a full coverage, I'll sort of just work as it makes sense to work, but all of my full coverage, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go and work like that. Likewise, I again discovered while I'm stitching Sakura Fuji, I always mess it up. Anyway, I'm not a fan of tent. I was already feeling it when I stitched Fingers of God, and I don't think tent stitching saves me enough time to make it worth it. So I am going to convert the couple of whips I've got in 2/1 tent just into 1/1 full cross, because I've got to enjoy it if I'm going to work on it. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm not stitching to have completed pieces on my wall. I'm stitching to enjoy it. But anyway, off my little soapbox, that's all my whips up until today that you didn't see in the last video. So let's get into haul. Start off with the less exciting things and build up to what I am most excited to share. Anyway, let's get into it. I bought these scissors from Amazon. I am struggling to find small scissors with a case. I thought these were small. They're not. I'll still use them. They're fine. I do have another pair on the way, which while they're scissors, they're not like finger scissors. I can't remember the brand of them, but hopefully I'll have them before next video to show you. So I'm not going to say this is wasted money, but this isn't what I was looking for. Next, I bought a DMC standard bobbin box thing. You might know I use Annie's. No, I'm not changing to bobbins. What I'm hoping to do is I've seen some clear acrylic bobbins on Etsy. Unfortunately, they're not shipping to Australia at the moment. Hopefully that changes soon enough, and I will be using this for my petite treasure braid because it doesn't work on Annie's, and I want it a little tidier than on the card that it comes on. So I bought a small bobbin box to put my petite treasure braid on when I can get the clear acrylic bobbins. I guess I could do a bit of research. There might be other places that make them that ship to me, but it's not a huge priority at the moment. Even if I work on the whips that need the petite treasure braid, I'm not going to be at that part of the whip. So that's fine. It's sort of long-term planning, organising rather than necessary. Next is a little magnet whiteboard thing. I've got a few needle minders. My collection is ever growing. This is really hard to show. I do need to organise them. They're not super cute the way they are now, but I just wanted a way to have them not necessarily on display, but just tidy. These ones down here are sort of, so those two go together, those for my parking. Words are hard. I've reached the end of my ability to even. Yeah, so I just thought this was cute. I was in Officeworks getting some supplies for my daughter's school and saw that and thought, why not? So I will eventually organise or tidy them up a bit and hope to never completely fill it because that's too many needle minders. And then lastly, definitely saving the best for last. This is something I am so excited. Still got a few little bugs to work out, but it's like more than I could have ever imagined. This may, like, I mean, this in itself looks amazingly exciting. The colour is not showing, it's not quite that dark. So this is a tote bag I had made. It's got a little pocket in the front and it snaps closed. And we're going to build up to this. I didn't tell you one other thing I bought which relates to this. I also bought a set of the Annie's Keeper's storage system for fairy bubbles. So this is for fairy bubbles. I'm sorry, there's no rhyme or reason to this. I am so excited. I have been imagining this storage-ish system for a very long time. I was finally able to find someone amazing who could take my craziness and make it an actuality. It started with, let's try and show you everything. Like, it all sits nicely. Yes, you can see they're all matching. I asked very nicely for that. So it started with the project bag. I saw this when I went to my LNS, and I will take out Fairy Bubbles to show you in all its glory. Somewhere. So I saw this project bag at my LNS. It's really difficult to show you because it's obviously got the vinyl, and on the back is that gorgeous teal colour. And so I've known this woman for a couple of years, and because Canberra is too small, her family actually knows my husband's family. One of her children and one of my husband's sisters went to school together, and then we ended up working together at a craft shop. But saw this, bought it, it was amazing, and it came with her small business number details. And so I contacted her, one, to get more masks because mask mandate, two, because I wanted to see if she was willing to try and make this craziness a reality. And she was, and it was so quick and so amazing, and like, cannot sing her praises enough. So again, we're going to build up to the best. I have a second project bag that is matching but not identical. There's a bit of crinkling. I'll show you that in a minute. And then the inside of that one is just white, and I bought this one, this is really hard to show, to store all of my little twists, which are the backup floss for Fairy Bubbles. I do have, sorry for the crinkling, this much still to wind. These are ones that I actually haven't used yet, and this is all of the sort of, not backup floss, but you know how you might need a couple of skeins. Anyway, I've got to wind those soon, hopefully, and they will all sit in here. So if I ever travel or go on a retreat, I've got the floss with me at all times. I don't need to worry about if it's coming close to running out. Then I've got a little matching notions bag. Opens up in the middle. In here I've got a needle minder, some spare needles, which are also new. Went in on an order with a friend, and we finally remembered to collect them yesterday, and I will be putting my new scissors when they arrive in there. I also need to get another Snag Nabbit and Quick Unpick, And if you can think of anything else you should have in a notions bag, let me know. But that's, again, gorgeously matching. And then these are what this is what I went to her for, and she has knocked it out of the park. Seriously, it's come straight from my brain. So originally I only thought I wanted one, but she talked reality into me when we saw it, and I have two. So 2 little rolls held together with scrunchies, because as I use the floss, it's going to be tighter rolled, and we just thought that this was the best way to close it. And are we ready? Are we ready? Now, there's still a little bit of tweaking to be done, and I will show you what I mean. But first, I'm going to unroll. So it's like a pencil roll, or I think crochet hooks, and it has my Annies on them. So this project needs 240 colours, which is 16 of the storage slides. So we've got 8 on each, and it's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, so there's 2. I will unroll the second and sort of show you not a problem, but something I didn't consider. It's not a big deal, especially because it's really only me that's seeing it. So it's like, whatever. Sorry, let's pause and I'll come back. Okay, so in this one, as you can see, it looks a lot messier because the floss is actually sitting over the top of the Annies. I was imagining more the underneath. This is going to be a bit awkward, but it's actually quite difficult to get it to do that neatly because it's actually long enough that it comes down to so the top one comes down to here. So like this is the ideal, but it's kind of annoying to thread it under. I'm not sure what to do. I'm so overwhelmed seeing these on camera. So I definitely like this one better. This one is usable if I have to. Obviously it's all numerical, so it's not going to be too difficult to find, even if I do need a number that's hidden. Okay, we're back just to one. The other thing I found is the way I normally put my floss on is with the loop at the back. Of course, it's not going to work because I'm on camera. So, Annie, the loop is on the back, and if anyone pre-cuts their threads and uses floss drops or anything like that, you know that you want to pull from that loop. So I'm wondering if I change the direction on all of the Annies, whether that's going to keep it more tidy in this configuration. But yeah, even if it's slightly messy, it's all contained. It's easy to get to. They're going to stay in order. I am just like, wow. To the point where I maybe might be kitting up another couple of whips like this. I don't number along the top of these ones, so I can use this for any whip. So yeah, I might be working with Vicky to make another couple just to have, yeah, but oh, I'm so excited. I love that everything's matching. It is exactly what I wanted. She made a tote bag to fit everything in. So if I ever need to take fairy bubbles anywhere, which I want to work on it 30 minutes a day, I'm potentially traveling to Queensland for my grandmother's 80th in the middle of the year. There might be a couple of trips with dance. I can just pick up a single bag and have everything I need, and it's just there. I might also need to figure out how to protect the excess fabric when working, because obviously working at home it's not too bad, but if I'm out and about I might need something, whether it's like a pillowcase thing that I tie a scrunchie on. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Any comments below? All things going well, I will be back on the 27th of February. Fingers crossed this time. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye, guys.